This is the jig we're getting ready to tie. Black on the bottom, gold on top, a little bit of white around where the eyes are. Cascade. I believe this is called black gold Chanel. Black marabou, yellow marabou. Some gold flash in there. Red eyes, UV resin coated head. Come along, let's watch me tie this jig up. All right, so here it is. We got it in the vise. This is an 1/8 ounce Texas minnow head with red eyes. The Texas minnow head I got from Jason Brummel. It's probably actually called like the Do It Walleye mold, but me and Jason's kind of nicknamed it the Texas minnow. We're going to tie it just like we do all the rest of them. Got a little bit of Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails back there. We are using 210 denier. We are actually using Danville's 210 wax Flymaster. It ties good. It's thick. It's easy to wrap. It's easy to fill a jig up. We're going to be putting black marabou in this one. I know for a long time I didn't like tying with marabou, but actually it's become one of my favorites to tie with now. It's really simple. You get a little bit of stuff floating around in the air. Send me a message. Let me know. What do you think about tying with marabou? Can you stand all the little fuzzies that's floating around and stuff? That's what always bothered me about it. It just kind of seemed like it makes a mess. But if you use the feather right, you pinch off right there at the end and you get all those sharp little points, get it kind of squeezed together a little bit, it ties really, really good. And it's got a lot of action. Out of all the material you can tie with, I really believe marabou gives your jig more action than anything else. Hackle, bucktail, craft fur might be its equal when it comes to the action you're going to get underwater. So we're going to take a little bit of a yellow to kind of match the gold that's on the top of the jig head. And we're not going to use nowhere near as much as we did with the black. We're going to use a small amount, and we're even going to tie it in just a little bit further down past the head than we did the black. That way, you can see right there, it's leaving me a little bit of a valley to finish up my Chanel. So when I get to my Chanel, I'm going to have a little bit of a divot right there behind the head and where that marabou starts to give myself a couple extra wraps just for safe measure, just to make sure it's not going to come apart on me. So there it is so far. We got it wrapped pretty good. It's looking nice. It's even. Now we're going to take a little bit of gold flash and we're going to cut it and we're going to add it in with the yellow feathers. And I'm not going to add a whole lot of yellow gold flash with this one. Just enough maybe to be a little bit of a tension getter. But we're going to pull off like maybe, if I just guess off the top of my head, maybe 2 inches. And we're going to do it tied in right there where that yellow's tied, that yellow marabou's tied in. So tie it down to the point of your hook, just like you do your the material you're putting in. Looking good. I like it. What do you think? Let me know. So now we have got Cascade New Age Chanel. This is size number 2, and it is called Copper Gold Black. This is a pretty nice Chanel to use. The only problem I have found with it is that when they stuff it in the bags, there's little kinks in it. And you can see those as I'm straightening it out. You can see those little, it kind of looks like there would have been a knot in it, but there's not. It's just a little bit of a kink. But you can get most of that out. As long as you're keeping tension on it and you're pulling it down as you're wrapping, you'll see a lot of that come out pretty easy. So one all wrap all the way back to the tip of the hook. One wrap with your thread all the way back up to the head, and then we're going to start putting on that Chanel. Watching as I'm putting it on, I'm keeping a lot of tension. I'm building a little bit up right there where the belly of that would be, just to make it a little bit fuller. Next wrap around the head, we're going to swap threads on the other side, back around the head again, and then we're even going to pull that Chanel back around one more time, swap sides with your thread, back around your head again until you've got it done. Now we're going to trim the rest of that Chanel off, well, after I wrap it a couple more times. Now we're going to trim that Chanel off. Get out our whip finish tool. Hook it there at the top, loop it, make your V. I'm going to give it 5 wraps. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull it off, snap it out, trim that tag end off, pull it kind of tight. I put a little tension right there at the end right before I get ready to cut that thread off. I pull it just a little bit just to sink it in. Now we're ready for the UV resin. I like it. I think it's looking pretty good. Let me know what you think. If you think it looks pretty good, thumbs up. Leave me a comment. There goes our UV resin. You can see, like I said, I'm not shy with that resin. I use quite a bit of it. I put it on thick. I'm going to push it down in there between the chenille and the head. I'm going to get them threads coated. That helps protect your threads and will make those threads last a lot longer. That jig will last a lot longer than a normal one that does not have the UV resin or some kind of hardener in there in the thread. We're going to get out our UV light. We're going to give it a quick setup just so I know it's not going to drip on it. You can see as I rotate it, I'm kind of letting that drip work around a little bit, getting it even, hitting it with that UV light and giving it a quick little bit of a cure. Not 100% cure where it's ready to go in your tackle box and be ready to fish, but good enough to where I can put it in my UV box and I don't have to worry about that UV resin dripping off the head of that jig. That's it. We're going to put it in there, show it off a little bit. Let me know what you think. You like that jig? Give me a thumbs up. Send me a message. Should I have done something different? Do you want to see something different? I started this jig out with gold eyes, and the gold eyes just didn't do that jig justice. So I did it again. I did another one with red eyes. Much happier with the way this turned out. Very flashy, very catchy. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, hit that little bell. Let me know what you think. Until next time, thanks for viewing, and we'll see you guys.